Hi, and welcome to the Spiritual Principles Made Practical podcast. I'm Scott Friedman, your host. Yay! And today we're going to talk about capitalism or democracy rather, versus authoritarianism. And the reason is that the world desperately needs clarity on this one because there's a battle in which they're fighting one another, and they shouldn't be. And here's the reason. Different people need different levels of structure, right? Prison is the right place for some people because without being in prison, they won't have the structure to stop hurting themselves and others. And as we go up the structure scale, the degree of external structure imposed so that the maximum benefit is achieved by everybody, not just the individual, but the society as well. As we go up that scale, we start with prison, right? Or maybe we start with prison without parole. And then we move up the scale as people understand more and more and appreciate more and more how what we do to anybody, we do to ourselves. And so prison is really like the maximum structure pretty much we have in our society today. And then up from that, we get into authoritarianism where people don't have a say in what goes on, right? They're told, you will do this, you will do this, you won't do this, right? And they don't really have a freedom of choice, right? And the reason is that those systems work is because given the sort of the consciousness, if you will, of the populace is that they won't do the right thing. They won't stop hurting people unless they're forced into doing the right thing. And so that's where you get authoritarianism because they say that, well, capitalism doesn't work or democracy doesn't work because people can't get along. And there's some truth in that, right? So when democracy starts to fail, then people say, well, nothing's getting done. We need authoritarianism because democracy, people can't agree. And so nothing's getting done. And with democracy, things get done great when there's an adherence to truth, when there's an acceptance of the fact that we all rise and fall together, we're all one, where there's a valuing of spiritual principles like love and joy and peace and happiness and creativity. When those are the measures of success, health, lack of stress, joy, laughter, when those are the measures of success, democracy can do really well. But when the measure of success becomes winning in a dualistic sense, I want more, there's only X amount and either I get it or you get it, right? Everything is a win-lose proposition, right? And that's where things break down because then people aren't looking for win-win solutions, which always exist. But it's a matter of looking for them, valuing them, and implementing them, that is whether or not they have a chance to be expressed and to work. And so what we have now is with all this partisan gridlock in the United States right now, there are more and more people that are saying, well, you know what, democracy really isn't working. We need to have authoritarianism, which is really kind of their way of saying, the way I look at it is I want mine and the hell with everybody else. And they don't understand that the everybody else is part of us, right? There's no separating from the everybody else. And that's kind of where we are right now. And so the message is that either we do the right thing because it's the best for us and everybody because we're all in this together, or we're going to lose our freedom and the best propaganda machine will win. And so it's really incumbent upon people, people thought they downplayed what they thought Hitler might do and stuff, but authoritarians, they don't have any qualms about killing people that disagree with them, and heaven help you if you're one of them, right? Or if you're enlisted to be an agent to kill people and get rid of people in one form or another that don't agree with the authoritarian in charge, even if you don't like it. I mean, in Germany, they had a problem with the soldiers because it's like, they didn't want to be just shooting all these people in cold blood, right? And women and children and people that weren't fighting at all, right? But that they were deemed to be the enemy. And that's, what we really need to understand is that that's where authoritarianism gets to, is that people that disagree with the authority are silenced in one form or another, either by prison, execution, excommunication, in some way or another. They're silenced. And so we need to make that clear, that by resisting acceptance of the fact that we're all one and we're all in this together and we all rise and fall together, and that blaming other people for our problem and trying to silence them or eliminate them in some way is not going to get us what we want. And that's the big message to authoritarians, is that you're never going to win ultimately, because you're basing everything on the idea that the problem exists in people that disagree with you, and if you eliminate the people who disagree with you, the problem will be solved. And that thinking is false. What's true is we all rise and fall together. I mean, and if you're in any kind of religion, they all say somewhere that we are one. And, when Jesus said, what you do to the least of them, you do to me, that's part of this, is that we're all one. What we do to anybody, we do to ourselves, because we're one, right? So if we're loving to ourselves and other people, then we're loving to everybody and we uplift everybody. If we're cruel to anybody, then we're also being cruel to ourselves. And that's the truth. And we can work on denying that truth all we want, but it's not going away. It's like gravity. You could say, I don't like gravity, and gravity says, I don't care. I'm gravity, I'm the truth. That's what happens. And it's the same with being one, is that we're all one, and what we do to anybody, we do to ourselves. And the more that we recognize that, the more we can find common ground, and democracies can work in the way they're supposed to, which is to bringing win-win solutions to light and implementation. And the facts are, and people talk about, well, there's too much regulation and stuff. Well, the reason there's regulation is that people don't do the right thing willingly, right? So if you do the right thing willingly, we don't need regulation. We wouldn't need any laws at all if people always chose to do the right thing willingly, that there weren't any sort of consequences to doing bad, to hurting people, to breaking the rules. And but that's where we are. And so what happens is that the more we can elucidate where we are as a society, the more obvious it is which direction we need to head and how to move forward. So it's our choice. What level of structure are we going to bring to ourselves? Are we going to bring authoritarianism and prison, dictatorships, where, I don't know, the biggest gun wins, I guess? Or are we going to bring upliftment and acceptance and love and compassion and wisdom, where we do the right thing because we choose to do the right thing, because we know it's the best thing for us and everybody else? and that everybody has value and everybody is part of us. There is no other, there is no enemy, there's only us. And that's the clarity that the world needs right now in the battle of authoritarianism versus capitalism. And the fact is that it's a function of the consciousness, if you will, of whether or not we're all in this together, or whether or not we want to blame other people for our problems. And I can promise you, blaming other people for our problems won't solve them. Never has, never will. So that's the light that needs to be shined worldwide on authoritarianism versus democracy. Spread the word, because we all live in this planet. We're all here together, and we're all either going to rise or fall together. And so if we can understand the choice between authoritarianism and democracy, then it's pretty clear we're likely to choose democracy and have a much more loving, kind, free, safe, respectful, uplifting society and world, as opposed to fear, punishment, blame, hatred, division, cruelty. And that's the choice. Choose wisely. Spread this video, share this wisdom, because the wisdom doesn't just exist in me, it exists in you, it exists in everybody, because we're all one. So share this wisdom far and wide, because our world that we create depends on it. I appreciate your comments. You can email me at scottfriedman40, SCOTTFRIEDMAN 40 @gmail.com. I'd love to hear what you have to think and say about all this. Okay, it's up to us. Bye for now.